And stick with me here while I bring in research analyst at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Janatan Sayeh, as well as former U.S. diplomat and director of global engagement under President Obama, Brett Bruen. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Brett, let me start with you, just having worked on the front lines of crises in Venezuela and Iraq. You got failed talks this weekend, now leading to a U.S. naval blockade of the Strait in just 3 hours' time. How is this all about to play out?
Well, let me start with the fact that Trump's demand, ironically, is where he started this crisis, and that is that Iran give up the ambition to have a nuclear weapon. Well, that was in the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. And so we've lost so many lives. We've lost so much treasure in the pursuit of something we actually had beforehand. And so, Marky, your question of where does this thing end? The challenge really sits with Trump because he is changing, if not by the hour, certainly by the day, what it is that our objectives are out of this thing. And, the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which he only, a few days ago was demanding immediately get opened, is a rather ironic twist.
Yeah, and, Jonathan, Robert brought up the fact that the ceasefire is still holding this morning, but President Trump over the weekend saying it's holding well, yet you have, a U.S. naval blockade set to begin here in just about 3 hours. Can those two things coexist?
They can, but in the short term. When we talk about a ceasefire in this context, it's better explained as a very fragile truce between the two countries that are becoming increasingly distrustful against one another. On the American side, it's challenging to want to pursue a deal knowing that the Islamic Republic was still enriching uranium in undeclared locations even during the JCPOA. So we know that even if we were to enact a deal, those challenges still remain. We cannot trust the regime with enrichment capabilities because any deal, if it were to conclude, it would fast-track their ability to pursue weaponization because they maintain enrichment capabilities under the 2015 JCPOA. That's important to keep in mind. But where's the war headed right now? If any economic blockade were to be implemented against the Islamic Republic, it's very important that it's sustained. Tehran can absorb shocks and even bombing campaigns so long as it's in intervals. If it were to be long-lasting, of course, it would have major ramifications. And the last note on that is a naval blockade is not necessarily our main leverage against the Islamic Republic. Capitalizing on the anti-regime momentum domestically and internally would be the winning card in this battle against the regime that could absorb any shocks, whether militarily or economic.
And Brett, we know all sides are ready to resume fighting at a moment's notice if it comes to that again. How likely is it that we see the ceasefire collapse and bombing continue after today?
Marky, I would put the likelihood up there as pretty high because, unfortunately, we walked away from the negotiating table without a next step in the process, simply saying, as Trump did last night and as J.D. Vance did the night before in Islamabad, you accept everything that I want or else we don't have a deal, is not a starting point or an ending point for negotiations. And particularly, I think the challenge, if you're understanding, from a diplomatic perspective, Iran has a longer time horizon than the U.S. does. Trump needs a deal quickly, and that's why he's flailing around trying to impose this blockade. And Marky,
are you saying quickly because of the midterms later this year, like political calculus needs it sooner than Tehran?
It's an important clarification. The economic pressure is the immediate one. Americans obviously are feeling the pain at the pump. We're feeling the pain in the prices at the supermarket. But yes, in just a few months, we're going to be going to the polls. And obviously, Americans take a dim view of war. They take a dimmer view of high prices. And so all of this is weighing down on Trump. Tehran knows it.
The president telling this to Fox News on Sunday regarding his remaining card that he could play, and that would be hitting Iran's energy and water supply. Take a listen.
I could take out Iran in one day. I could take down in 1 hour. I could have their entire energy, everything, every one of their plants, their electric generating plants, which is a big deal. And I hate to do it because if I do it, it takes you 10 years to rebuild. They'll never be able to rebuild it.
Joe, I mean, we've heard him make this threat before. We, heard him threaten to blow Iran back to the Stone Ages last week. You've covered this president for years. I'm curious what you make of this messaging. Does this sound like his usual rhetoric to try to get them back to the bargaining table, or does this sound different?
To the extent that it sort of fits a pattern, we've seen President Trump in any negotiation, whether it's something like this, as serious as war, or even something like a negotiation with Congress, he will often try to just stake out like this maximalist position and sort of use the fear, the threat of that as leverage to try to move the other party. Whether he may seriously follow up on that threat, I think it's certainly a possibility. I also think there was actual pushback on that statement, and not just from Democrats who really slammed it and said, look, this would be a war crime and this would be targeting infrastructure that is civilian infrastructure. But there was also within his own party some pushback. I certainly know privately, and there were a few publicly that said they didn't necessarily agree with the way that he laid that out. But, again, we've seen the president sort of do this before as a way to try to leverage a better position. It certainly may be that is the case again.
And Janatan, let me just end with you and kind of, being forward looking here. Do you think we see some of our allies step in to help with the Strait of Hormuz and blockading it at all? Because I know, obviously, they rely on the Persian Gulf for oil much more than we do.
The president was on point when he simply noted that Europe particularly is implicated by the crisis more than the United States, not just because of the Strait, but also because of the attacks coming from mainland Iran. Tehran now has the capabilities to strike Europe as far as London. We know the same missiles and drones are being used in the continent by Russia against Ukraine. So on the other hand, also, Turkey, being a NATO ally, was fired at by the Islamic Republic, and similar with Cyprus being an EU state member again. But we haven't seen any reaction from them. And more concerningly is even our allies around the Persian Gulf, even though they've been hit hard. Even after the ceasefire, Qatar and UAE and Saudi Arabia were struck by Iranian missiles, and still we have not seen meaningful retaliation from them. So the situation is not looking great in terms of a coalition, but there will come a point that these countries will realize that the cost of not engaging in this conflict is going to be higher than standing by.
Well, we'll see what happens in 2 hours and 45 minutes when that U.S. naval blockade is set to take effect and take place. Okay, Joe and Robert, thank you. Janatan Sayeh, Brett Bruen, thank you as well. Appreciate all of your time.